Hi, I'm Alison and welcome to the China Repair Studio. And so today I thought I would show you how to mend a porcelain plate. But before I do so, if you haven't subscribed before, please subscribe, please like and also please share. My channel does anything to do with porcelain and pottery and china repair and restoration. Anything from gluing, bonding, fixing, sanding to painting and airbrushing. So hopefully you'll subscribe. Right, so here we are. I've got a beautiful filigree porcelain plate which has been damaged in half, put in half. So it's broken and it's missing a piece here. And we found the piece and it's all been cleaned up. So here it is. Now, obviously, if you have pottery, it's a very different type of glue you would use than you would use for porcelain. Now, pottery is extremely porous, whereas porcelain isn't. So you do need a type of glue and work with it slightly differently when fixing. Now, first things first, make sure your hands are perfectly clean. It's so important. You don't want to be transferring any dirt or grime into the porcelain. With this it needs to be completely clean. The area on the porcelain, you want to make sure also if it's been glued before, that there is no remaining glue attached, otherwise it won't be a tight fit. Now you can tell by looking in the light, and also when you do place, you can tell if it still has remaining glue, because it would be you can almost hear the graininess, whereas if it's all the glue's taken off, completely clean, it'll be easy to fix on and there won't be any graininess there. Now I have propped it up on one of my old female rose vases, and because you want something to sort of steady it. You will also need a cocktail stick, and I sewed quite a few of these, just a nice little top to mix the glue in, and some Scotch tape. Now I would highly recommend using Scotch tape rather than using any sellotape, because sellotape tends to leave a slightly more residue to it in the end, whereas Scotch tape does come off easier. Also, just a word of warning, if you do have a piece of porcelain with any gold gilding on, be extremely careful, because even with Scotch tape it would take it off, and also just touching it with your fingers. Right, so what we're going to do first is we're going to take one part, which is, I think this is the hardener. You would use one part of this to 2 parts of the larger bottle. It comes with 2 bottles. I've got to say this is Araldite 220 and it's a lot finer, and it sort of goes as in almost like a capillary action rather than, you know, too thick and sliding it onto the piece. So as I'll just demonstrate. But what I would suggest and highly recommend is if you do get one of these, you know, these last a long time. I'm not sure on the date on them, but this is still working for me. But to transfer them into smaller pots, because otherwise you can see this is, you know, still working, it's all glued, still fine inside, but you don't want to keep taking it in and out, you know, opening up the lid all the time, because it will weaken the glue and it will then start to harden. So if you can transfer it into another bottle, brilliant. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take, I think we'll take the largest one first. And this is blue on the top and the other one is green, so you know which is which, apart from how large they are. As I say, it should make my life easier and actually dispense them into smaller ones. So I'm just going to gently put in 2/3. It is quite good having these because they're easier to measure. You can sort of tell. And make sure it's all closed. And then we take the hardener, and then this is 1 part. Now you don't need very much, you know, it's not like you're putting loads on, it doesn't need much at all, so, you know, just a little bit. But as I say, these do last a very long time. Now you could use ordinary Araldite 50/50 glue on porcelain, The only thing is it would be more bulky and you wouldn't get such a tight fit, whereas this process with this glue, you definitely get a tighter fit. Right, so what we do is once we've done that, we start to just really mix that through. This takes a few moments. See there? And when we think that's mixed, what we do first is we will put on our missing piece onto the porcelain. So again, need to make sure up there. Now, because this has been broken before, I can see it has quite a few missing pieces. There will always be shards. Very rarely do you have a complete tight fit with no missing edges, because porcelain tends to break and shard off quite easily. So that could be rectified at another time. So we'll take our Scotch tape, just take a small part, and then just hold on to one piece and then pull it towards the next bit of the fixing, so it's nice and tight. You don't want it loose. And I'll probably do 2 at the front and 1 at the back. So again, I would just hold it, make sure it's tight and tell by the finger, hold it down and then drag it down so it's real tight fit. And then I'll just do 1 on the back. And you want to touch with your fingers to make sure it's nice and flush, and hold it down. Now I'll just show you here, you can see where you see there's still lots of bits where it's all chipped around the edge, and that's only where it's been glued before. Right, so once we've done that, we can prop it up. We take our glue, and what we do is we actually glue the joins, which obviously you can't glue on it here, but it will seep through. Because it's very fine, it will seep through in almost a capillary, as I say, capillary action. So you want to go all the way along. Any glue which dribbles, that's fine. That will always come off. Let's do that. And you want to do this on both sides. All the way along there. Really smarm it in, make sure it gets all the way through there. And what this does, the glue will go onto the surface, into that crack, and then it will just literally get right into the middle, right into the porcelain, and then it will harden within the porcelain. Porcelain is a lot finer than, as I say, you know, if you have, this wouldn't work with something such as pottery, because pottery is too porous. But for porcelain, it's absolutely perfect. I just like to smarm it, so you can always take off the, as I say, off the dribbles after. I want to make sure it's all on there. When I do this, I do like to do it twice. I do the front, then I'll do the back, and then I'll do the front again. As you can see, so what I do is just, again, just go across. It's a beautiful plate. I'm not sure on the make. I think it might be Minton. I have a funny feeling. It's very beautiful with the filigree. Now this glue works on if you have some porcelain which is cracked but hasn't actually come off. So if you just got a crack in a piece of porcelain and you don't want it to go any further, the Araldite 2020 is perfect as well. Again, you can just place it on and it will just draw in. Just one word of warning, if you do that, just make sure it's 100% clean. There's no dark on the ridges. Otherwise, you end up with it, you know, the glue settling in as well. Let's do that to there. So it's holding there. And then I would probably go through, do this one last time, second time, just to make sure it's really got in there. It's really saturated. Now this would take, I think I said before, it would take about 48 hours to really get in and set. And I do like to leave it a little bit longer. Let's take it off there, sorry. That's it. And one last time. So I do like to drown it. One last time on this side. Cocktail sticks are so useful. Now, because this is a filigree, and I have actually placed a piece of Scotch tape on one part of the filigree, I'm working from behind, so that will actually seep it right in. I can always at a later date, when I take this off, go onto this end as well, just so it goes all the way through. Right, and I think we're about done. So I'm going to leave that just to prop up, clear off any last little bits of drips. You can do the rest later. As I say, that will take around 48 hours, but I do like to leave it a few days. The longer the better, to be honest, for it to really set in. And then after that, I can take away the Scotch tape, and then it's ready for its next stage. So there we go, how to fix and mend a porcelain plate, or any type of porcelain. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you do have any questions, please comment down below, and also tell me which country you're from. It's always really interesting to see who's watching. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.